Kevin Hunter and Jody Summers here on Health Kindness. You can find Jody Summers if you have any questions following the show at healthkindness.com. Thanks everybody for joining us here today, and we're going to talk about a kind of a worn out word, isn't it? Detoxification. You hear everybody visiting about it, all these new innovative products coming out on detoxing and everything else, and so it's kind of a worn out term in the marketing world for promoting products, isn't it?
It really is. And that's, when I hear the word, I think, oh, there's another product for sale. It's like a buzzword for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got this side over here that uses products for marketing. And then you've got the complete opposite side of oftentimes you'll hear in mainstream, oh, there's no such thing as that. Your kidneys and your body does it all on its own. Well, the real answer, like so many things, is just kind of right in the middle. And that is, yes, your body does that, and that's how we're made. But there are things you can do to support the functions of detoxification that don't include a lot of really fancy supplements, although there are some that can support some of the organs of detox. But in general, it's a marketing term, but it's also healthy for the body. So there's this balance thing.
Well, let's share with people first of all, what detoxification is not, because some of these categories that are showing up in here are actually some of the common things that people associate with what detoxification is. So explain what it is not.
So you're gonna laugh at these lists. So the first one that it's not, they are not juice cleanses, vitamins and supplements, essential oils, or weekend retreats. What they are juice cleanses, vitamins and supplements, essential oils, and weekend retreats. So again, when you hear, oh, this juice cleanse is going to detoxify you and you're going to be healthy at the end of 10 days. Again, there's that balance of that's not all that it is. Mm-hmm. Can it be helpful? It can be helpful, but there is no one single thing that creates detoxification in the body. There's not even one single thing that supports detoxification in the body. Mm-hmm. To help your body detox as best it can, as most efficiently, is to support all the areas and all of the organs of the body, which basically they are the kidneys, the liver, the kidneys, the colon, the lymph system, the liver, the skin, and the lungs. Mm-hmm. And so as we think of detoxification and all those different areas, we need to do it's just part of life, is just part of a healthy lifestyle, is supporting those areas and those organs of detoxification.
So let's talk about how we can create that support and how we can avoid some of the toxins that we might be ingesting right now that are accumulating in all these different organs in the body.
The first thing, without question, is be aware of what they are and then stop bringing them in. So like water, make sure that you go to your local water department and find out what type of contaminants are in your local water. And that actually is on, if people want to go and check that, it's on a website called Environmental Working Group, EWG. And you can go there, plug in your zip code and check on your water source. So that's just one way of, just being aware. And then what can you do? Is there a filter that you can get? Alcohol would be huge on the list of toxins to stop bringing in the body. Very hard on the liver. And I think just last week we talked about, fatty liver and the importance of a healthy liver. All of those things can really contribute to stopping the body's natural detoxification pathways. So food was a huge one with glyphosate. And there is a list of the top safe foods and the top things that you want to avoid. So things that you definitely want to buy organic. And it is, again, by the Environmental Working Group. It's also on many different websites. There's a list of all of those foods that you can get that you want to make sure that you're getting in organic form. Mm-hmm. Cleaning products. You want, good, clean, avoid bleaches and toxic chemicals as much as you can. Every once in a while, there might be a need for that, but make sure then you're protecting your skin. And I mean, my mom used to put her hands in ammonia and bleach and all, all of those things. And then we get in the tub after she cleaned it. And it's like there are safer products on the market.
My
Again,
mother
so it
used
goes
to
back
do
to
cleaning of the entire house with bleach. Like you'd come
yeah,
home and I felt like I would get like this instant headache. But she was like, "Isn't the place smell clean?" I was like,
clean.
"I guess it does." But yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, and pine sol my mom used to use, and it just kind of turned my stomach. But now that I had to list, what is not detoxification, what is it? Well, essential oils can be part of a healthy home cleaning product.
Mm-hmm.
Much, much safer, actually helpful for people.
Mm-hmm.
Air quality. So, if you live in a poor area that has poor air quality, usually the air in the house is actually even less high, like it has more toxins in it than the air outside often.
Mm-hmm.
So again, you might want to consider a whole house filter. Other areas of toxins in the body, which people don't often think of, which I think would be fabulous to do a show on these two things, is noise. We
Mm-hmm.
have been grown up with TV background noise or music background noise, or, our brain needs to be cleaned as well and just be quiet and that's why it loves to sleep at night and to relax. But even during the day, if you can turn off some of that noise and just stop bringing in all the negativity of the news and those are also toxins in a different way than we're talking about today, but certainly something to be aware of.
You'd be proud of us this morning, Jody. We were both out in the garden, bare feet, plucking
Love it.
weeds out of there. And Steph like made some kind of comment, like, because it was just all quiet. She's like, "What are you thinking about?" It's like,
Yeah.
nothing, absolutely nothing. Just,
Yep.
I like this mindless picky weeds out of the garden. So yeah,
Yeah.
we were practicing noise cleansing.
I love it.
All right. So what about there was one other that you wanted to mention. You talked about noise. What was the other one?
Negativity. So when
Got
you
it.
talk about, like, when negative people, toxic people, negative news, talk radio, all of those things,
Mm-hmm.
they're toxic. I mean, they just are. Every once in a while you need to hear the news, but not every day, all the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Let's go into the specific because you mentioned a number of different organs that you can be doing cleansing for. So you mentioned kidneys, colon, lymph system, liver, skin, lungs, etc. So where do you want to start?
Kidneys are probably the best place to start.
Mm-hmm.
The kidneys really are the kidneys and the liver are the body's where they get rid of the waste products, and kidneys are so important. And again, when you hear marketing terms of detox, it's always associated with something for sale. But in
Mm-hmm.
this case, water is free, clean water, and that is the single best way to support the health of the kidneys. Making sure that they're just filtering well. So the general rule for anybody, doesn't have health issues, and always check with your doctor. But the general rule is take your body weight. So somebody who's 160 pounds, divide that in half. So that's 80. And then take 80 ounces a day. So half your body weight in ounces per day of water. So again, somebody who's 200 pounds would be 100 ounces of water, but you never want to exceed a gallon a day, because then you get you're depleting the minerals and the sodium balance and all of that. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's a really good way to support the kidneys, and obviously not take in, things that are going to damage that. So the kidneys would be specifically water.
Okay.
The second then would be your colon and having, healthy bowel movements. And when you have a baby, that baby eats and have a bowel movement,
Mm-hmm.
eats and has a bowel movement, and eats, and, maybe 4 times a day, 6 times a day when they're little. Well, that is normal and healthy. Now, I'm not saying that, as adults, we should be having 6 bowel movements a day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one, we shouldn't be having 6 meals a day either. So there you go. That's probably why.
Yeah.
But truly, if you're not having a bowel movement every day, that is less than optimal. Optimal is every day, generally in the morning, because the way that your body sleeps, then it wakes up and then it gets rid of the waste products that it has, acquired overnight, as that food had moved through. And so having a bowel movement every day is healthy. And when you hear that, oh, you go to the doctor, you go, I'm constipated all the time. Oh, it's normal not to have a bowel movement, every 3 or 4 days. Normal might be true. That doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy. There's
Correct.
a lot of people who don't have bowel movements every day. But ways that you can support that is by increasing fiber. That would be through more raw vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
Just more vegetables in general. I guess they don't need to be raw, but slightly cooked. Increasing your water, like we just talked about. And then if there's still an issue with this regular bowel movement, adding in possible a magnesium supplement or magnesium-rich foods, as
Mm-hmm.
well as vitamin C-rich foods. And what I found was interesting as I was preparing for this is when I wrote those 4 things out, they all have to do with vegetables. So if you are eating raw salads, salads, if you're having a salad for lunch with a little bit of protein on it and some healthy fat, it provides magnesium, vitamin C, fiber, and water. Again, we go back to nutrient-dense whole food can help you have bowel movements every day.
Who knew?
Who knew?
All right. Let's talk about the lymph system.
So the lymphatic system is like your body's overflow trash can. We think of the kidneys as getting rid of waste, the colon is getting rid of waste, and then the leftover fluid goes into a system which is really under educated, under talked about, is the lymph system. And it's like all of the leftover fluid. I don't know how you say it, but like not the blood, but like the watery kind of stuff. And it is in a system that doesn't have its own, like, it's not like a circulatory system that has its own pump. So
Mm-hmm.
ways that you can move that waste is then the part of the lymph system are lymph nodes. And so when people are sick, a lot of times they'll get like swollen lymph nodes in different glands. Well, all that is where that waste product is gathering up. It gets hard, and that's how it's actually supposed to function. And then your body takes care of it and gets rid of it. But one way to support that lymphatic system is, the first way would be exercise and movement. And again, who knew, healthy
Yes.
food and movement. But most of our lymph nodes are underneath our arms and in the groin area. So when somebody walks and they're moving their arms and legs, by default, you're moving the lymph nodes and moving the lymph system.
Mm-hmm.
Other ways that you can do that is by jumping or rebounding, yoga. And as it shows, this photo is a dry brush, and you can just get them on Amazon. Or eat health food stores. You always brush toward the heart. So if it's above your heart, you're going to be brushing long strokes down. If it's below the heart, long strokes up, because that stimulates that pumping,
Mm-hmm.
and then the body can then remove that waste. So, when people have surgery and lymph nodes are removed, actually it's not really great for the lymphatic system, and then you have to kind of make up for that later on. But the lymphatic system is really good for supporting the health of detoxification.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about liver, and I think this subject is going to upset a lot of the alcoholic people that I know, and those that take multiple pharmaceutical drugs for things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the liver is really taking a beating in this country, isn't it?
It is the next epidemic. There's no doubt about it. It's a quiet epidemic, and it is mainly going to come from these young kids, not necessarily from alcohol, like, let's say, our parents' generation, because they didn't know that at the time. It's like our parents didn't know that alcohol was really bad for the liver until, it was too late. Now we
Mm-hmm.
know. And now the next generation, is what we're finding is that all of the sugar and high fructose corn syrup, specifically fructose, is all filtered through the liver. And kids and teenagers and young adults and millennials, they're all generations, now that we've added in high fructose corn syrup to the majority of our foods, as well as a much higher sugar diet, are getting fatty liver. And that is just awful for the whole body, much less the liver itself and the detoxification. So alcohol can cause that. Sugar, fructose, pharmaceutical drugs
Mm-hmm.
are oftentimes filtered through the liver. And that is oftentimes a side effect of pharmaceutical drugs. So if you can wean your way off and talk to your doctor about limiting or lessening the amount of pharmaceuticals, that's going to be healthy for the liver.
Sometimes when people think about filtering type organs and liver being so significant in that role in our body, sometimes people are able to understand this a little bit better as it pertains to a vehicle. So I'll just share with you 3 places that filters work in a car, and if these become clogged up, your car automatically dies. One of them is a fuel filter. People don't even know they have one, but there's one between the tank and the engine. Plug that thing up, car won't start. Then there's an oil filter. Plug that thing up and your engine blows up. And then there's an air filter. You plug that thing up, engine can't breathe, engine won't run. It's really interesting, but the places where filters are in a vehicle or places where filters are in the body, if you don't take care of it, things are absolutely going to suffer as a result of it. And think of your liver as your fuel filter, your oil filter, your air filter. You kind of don't want to mess it up.
Absolutely. Now, the good thing about it is that the liver is the only organ in the body that can actually regenerate itself back to health. And so there is hope there for this whole generation of fatty liver people. And a couple of ways, and like I said earlier, it's not about detox is not about supplementation, but in this case, some supplements can help, such as juicing. Like even in that photo, parsley, any of the greens, beets. And if you think of the liver as being a healthy red, beets are that same healthy red. Beets are amazing for the liver, whether they're not ground up, whether they're in the oven when you put the fire on the oven. What's that called? I can't even think of the word, but they're roasted. They're roasted, whether they're roasted or they're steamed or they're juiced. They're very healthy for the liver. So milk thistle, vitamin C are both supplements that can support the liver. Milk thistle, you just want to make sure you're not taking too much, but they come in teas and it's really inexpensive. And if you have a healthy liver, adding a little bit of milk thistle every week is going to help maintain that healthy liver. Also, celery, carrots, parsley, cilantro, lemons and limes are all really good liver support. Again, juicing isn't one way to do that. Making them into a smoothie would be another. And the last way that people don't think about oftentimes to support the liver is to support the gallbladder. So through healthy bile, good gallbladder health, and keeping that bile flowing freely is really healthy for the liver because it puts less stress on the liver in the long run.
They kind of work in partnership with each other.
They do.
Yeah. So we want to talk about sweating. You mentioned about the importance of exercise and movement. There's a lot of different ways that you can get the body to expel toxins via the sweating method. Share some of those things that you recommend.
So exercise would obviously be really beneficial. Any kind of where you get your heart pumping and you're sweating from the inside out, even on a hot day, is probably is healthy because you're sweating as long as you're taking in enough fluids. A hot yoga class where everybody's sweating all the time throughout that whole hour and a half. A sauna is a fabulous way to increase the body's core temperature and to start sweating. Simple, very relaxing. You can use essential oils, you can meditate, you can pray, you can do all sorts of things. Just relax there in that heated sauna. Epsom salt baths, hot Epsom salt baths, and that's some of my favorite things to do, are other ways that your skin can actually, just supporting the skin in its natural detoxification processes. Anytime you can sweat, that's a good thing.
What do you think about a hot tub? And I'm talking about a hot tub absent all the chemicals that people generally put in. But if you have your own, and you can avoid all of those chemicals, you recommend a hot tub?
If you can avoid the chemicals, yes. If it is, let's say you live in an apartment building or a condo and they have a community one, it's certainly, you don't look at that as a health area. In fact, probably the opposite, because there would be a lot of chemicals and then your pores are open and they're all getting, it's just easily absorbed. But yes, if you have your own, whether it's the salt water or there's just no chemicals in it, that would be very, very supportive of the whole body.
Anything else you want to share with regarding detox?
The only other thing I can think of is the lungs, deep breathing, getting in more clean oxygen. Again, it's just one of the organs for detoxification. So even something as simple as on this image at the bottom with the gal over the steamy water, in this case, it's I happen to know in this case that it is some kind of a grapefruit essential oil. So any of those things, and then you can just throw that then into the bathtub, and just that deep breathing, it helps with your parasympathetic, all sorts of things. So all of these things all together, and there's not one. Actually, if I could just pick one of these that we've talked about, it would drink the amount of water that's half your body weight in ounces every day. That would be if you were to just pick one of those things to support your detox system, that would be it. But all the rest are really helpful.
Drink water. Yeah. All right. Well, great stuff around detoxification. And obviously, there's a lot of misunderstanding when it pertains to detoxification, because it is a word that's used in marketing. But do your homework on this. If you have any questions for Jody following this broadcast, again, you can reach her at healthkindness.com. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here on the broadcast. Kevin Hunter with Jody Summers. Till next time, take care.